Hey everybody, this is Perch. A couple days ago, I pointed out I want to say comedy, but the fact that we have the Red Skull, who's been kind of changed to be a hate blogger or vlogger, basically putting out videos talking about feminism bad and barbarians at the gate and all these kinds of things. And I knew at the time, I posted these screenshots and I made a crack about Alex Jones because he's kind of the meme, I would say, of the one of Alex Jones with a tinfoil hat, and he becomes the meme of vloggers. But really, in the clips, in the thing, there's a undeniable person that's they're taking a shot at, and that's Jordan Peterson. So who is Jordan Peterson? Well, Jordan Peterson is a psychologist and a professor. I don't need to give you Jordan Peterson's bio. You can look it up on Twitter yourself. But he's a polarizing figure, and for a lot of reasons, it take a lot of work to get down into. And definitely, if you're listening to this right now, chances are you already have a very positive, very negative feeling about Jordan Peterson, depending on your politics and depending on kind of what you've been told to get here. Peterson made it's funny because I think in hindsight, his career has this huge moment where he refused or he was against the mandatory use of pronouns. And it's a Canadian government issue. And again, there's a lot of detail toward it. I'm not going to insult anyone by trying to go through it all here. But his stance and the subsequent fallout and kind of anger became a big deal. Now, I think he writes and talks about a lot of things. And that's one tiny piece of it, but that's kind of eclipsed a lot of the other things he talks about, this stance against pronouns or compelled speech. For what it's worth, I'm always very wary of compelled speech. I think there's a big difference between trying to be nice and being told that you have to do something. I think those are two different camps. For example, for myself, if somebody comes and they introduce themselves and they prefer certain pronouns, I will do my best not just do my best, I'll call them what they want to be called. It's their pronouns, their choice. I'll do whatever I want. If I have no idea, I'm going to make a stab at it based on, society norms. And if I'm wrong and I'm corrected, I'll try and comply. I think that that's just general politeness. I think that's miles different than somebody saying you have to say it this way or you could be fined or arrested or anything else. I think those are two different worlds. And I think the world would be a better place if people just made an attempt to be nice people and to kind of respect what other people want. I think that that's the preferable option as opposed to having the police or, somebody have to get involved. That seems to be, I'm off track. At any rate. The Red Skull, Ta-Nehisi Coates, is writing this Captain America run, and he's no fan of Jordan Peterson. He's written and commented about Peterson before. They're ideologically on different ends of the spectrum, and so the fight continues. The goofy part to me is when you take that fight and you try and insert it into comics. I think that's where it gets dumb. I don't think comics are really built for that kind of thing. I think that I think it always comes off awkward. And I think it goes to something I've said in other places, which is you want your comics to be evergreen as much as possible. You would like your comics to not take its cues from current events that a year or two from now, nobody will remember. Jordan Peterson, and I mean no offense to the people who love his work, 10 years from now is Jordan Peterson, and more importantly, the controversy around Jordan Peterson isn't going to mean anything. I tend to doubt it. And people may continue to follow advice. They may continue to buy his books and everything else. But is anybody going to really be paying attention to the Jordan Peterson controversy and kind of what he's saying? Will they be paying attention in 2031? I have a hard time believing they will. I think that if you're doing a, Red Skull with a laptop and you're saying, the 10 rules for life, which is a shot at Peterson because he's got a 10 rules for life book out. Nobody's going to remember that. In fact, more likely in 10 years, people are going to think that's a crack at BuzzFeed because BuzzFeed popularized these listicles that were on the internet. They're not going to make that connection. And maybe this is supposed to be kind of a cute Easter egg to people, but it's not a good Easter egg. It's not one that's going to matter over time. That's the problem I have with it. I think there's a whole other world, which I really covered in the other video, of, the Red Skull, who has been established in this run, has an army, multiple armies, has massive amounts of wealth, is shown like hanging out in skyscrapers and penthouses, and controls big aspects of government influence and everything else. I struggle with the idea that the Red Skull would go on YouTube and start making angry videos. And for that matter, if the Red Skull is a Nazi, this isn't like the Red Skull is misunderstood or the Red Skull is just a bad guy, but he's being called a Nazi. The Red Skull identifies as a Nazi, says he's a Nazi, kind of like the pronouns conversation. I will take him at his word. He runs around attacking cities with a bunch of robots and armies wearing kind of the swastika on them. So, I mean, he is who he is. It's out there. This is a suspend disbelief thing, and I know it's just comics, and I know you've got people flying around and everything else, but I don't want to I don't want to have to think in the comic about wouldn't YouTube kick this guy off their platform? I think they would. I mean, if Twitter is getting the My Pillow guy off Twitter, I have to believe that somebody who is a straight up a Nazi, talks about, is a Nazi, says he's a Nazi, wears Nazi material. I have a hard time believing that, we're expected to believe that would just be out there. I get it. I know. And some people can say, oh, Perch, there's this recruitment and stuff that's going on. I mean, sure. It's just, once you've got an army and billions of dollars of wealth and government influence, are you going to be really messing around trying to shame Captain America by saying he's in a feminist trap? It's just a super dumb plan. It doesn't hold up. And if the background behind all of this is that we really want to do some political commentary on why Jordan Peterson's a terrible person, that's the slowest, most ridiculous way to get to that. That's the longest possible route and the dumbest possible route. Because again, in 5 to 10 years, no one's going to connect these dots. And meanwhile, you've got the Red Skull, you've got this enemy character for Captain America that has existed for many, many decades. And we've now mired his history into this nonsense. That's the part that is weird to me. That is it. And when I look at the sales, and I'll do a full analysis of the Ta-Nehisi Coates' Cap and Black Panther run. I mean, Cap is selling in the mid to low 20,000s. That's it. His title has steadily declined month after month for the entire time he's been on it. His Black Panther run has, it launched with a huge, 253,000 copies sold, variant covers, big deal. And it's now selling basically 13,000 copies a month. It's 1/20th, less than that, of what it launched. So these comics aren't selling. And I don't think they're not selling because people are Jordan Peterson fans and feel offended. They're not selling because this storytelling approach is not working. It's not clicking. It's funny because this story, because Peterson, took note that he is being portrayed as a Red Skull, and he goes on Twitter to say, WTF. And the people come out of the woodwork. Thousands of people come out of the woodwork to like and basically like, screw you, Jordan Peterson. You are the Red Skull, and my hat's off. It's stunning and brave. Ta-Nehisi Coates. This is the perfect way to write the Red Skull and Captain America. Okay, if it's the perfect way to write the Red Skull and Captain America, shouldn't the sales be higher? Like, there's more likes. There's one post where somebody's like, F you, Jordan Peterson. And it has like 80,000 likes. And it's like, hey, of those 80,000 likes, can some of you like go to the comic shop? Because the comic is selling, 22,000 copies a month. Like if the 60,000 of you who like this that aren't buying it would head on over to your comic shop and buy this, then this comic would do better. It would be remembered more fondly. You'd really stick it to Peterson then, because you'd have a top selling comic. But right now, it's just there's nothing going on. I don't know. That's my problem. There's a lot of noise, a lot of like, yay, you go, Coates, and yet the sales aren't there. So what is actually happening here? And again, whether you love Jordan Peterson or hate Jordan Peterson, it doesn't. This is the result. The end result is kind of nothing, and that does not matter. Anyway, let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.